Welcome to Her Career Studio. I'm your host and career coach, Lisa Virtue. Here we live by the mantra, thrive at work so you can thrive in life, because we know you are more than your day job. Each episode includes actionable tips and often mentor stories to not only boost your professional success, but also enhance your personal well-being. Join me as we explore ways to ensure your career uplifts your life. As you strive to achieve work-life harmony, head to hercareerstudio.com for free resources and coaching services to help support you during career transitions and challenges, such as when you are looking to find and land that next ideal job or promotion, or are leading a new team. We're here to support you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And please hit the thumbs up or leave a 5-star review if you are finding the content useful. This helps us keep going in our mission to help women in their careers. Thank you so much for your support. If you are like me and you like a good twist in a story, then you're in for a treat with this episode. Welcome to another empowering episode of Her Career Studio. Today, I get to sit down with Vanessa Cardenas, who is a betrayal recovery specialist. She shares her profound wisdom and experience that will probably surprise you. In this episode, Vanessa opens up about her personal journey through betrayal, including the heart-wrenching discovery of her husband's affair after more than 2 decades of marriage. She dives deep into the emotions, struggles, and transformative path to healing that followed. What we do in this conversation is we talk about betrayal when it also applies in the workplace, how to move through that, how to do your own research, and trust your instincts when you're facing these heavy emotional situations. She passionately advocates for feeling comfortable with the professionals you turn to for support and underscores the significance of having a caring and supportive inner circle for these times. Vanessa also shares powerful techniques such as using positive affirmations to combat self-criticism and discusses the immense value of forgiveness and self-commitment. If you have ever felt betrayed at work or at home, this episode is dedicated to you. Enjoy the stories, enjoy the tips, and at the height of it all, enjoy the plot twist. Vanessa, I'm thrilled to talk to you today because when we met and you told me your story, it was very captivating and also inspiring, and I think in a way nurturing for so many souls out there, but in a way that might be surprising to some of the listeners. So I'm really excited to dig into that with you today. So why don't you just start by telling everyone a little bit about you and your background and why we're talking today?
Oh, why we are talking today. I love it. I am so excited for our conversation, Lisa. We had such an amazing conversation off recording, and now we get to do it for the benefit of all your listeners. Oh, it's going to be so great. So who am I? And why am I here? Well, that's an interesting question. Well, first off, my name is Vanessa Cardenas, and I am a betrayal recovery specialist. What? What is that? A betrayal recovery specialist? Yes. Why? Because I went through betrayal. Now, kind of have to understand a little bit of my background. You see, I was addicted to certainty. I thought for sure that if I checked off all the boxes as a woman, I would be inoculated from anything terrible happening to me. Boy, I was so wrong. I was absolutely so wrong. And I made it all the way to the C-suite. I got there and it was, it's glorious up here because I still am a C-suite executive, but I am a betrayal recovery specialist, and I help those that have been betrayed work through it because it affects every aspect of your life. In my particular case, it was intimate partner betrayal. My husband of over 2 decades sat me down in Central Park and said, "There's something I need to tell you." And I turned to look at him, and it was in slow motion. And he said 3 words to me, and my whole world completely shattered and changed in an instant. "I've met someone." Oh my goodness. Oh, it seemed like everything I worked for, everything I did, all the check boxes I did, just poof, they were gone. And I fell into such despair and such darkness. Now, not for nothing, I'm a smart woman. I have a psychology degree. I made it all the way to the C-suite. Why was this happening to me, and why was it affecting me the way it was? Why couldn't I just, put on my shoulder pads and dig in and pick myself up and do what I needed to do? No, I couldn't. And I couldn't wrap my head around it and why I was suffering the way I was. And I did a colossal mistake. Oh, I made such a mistake. I thought I could do it myself. I really did. I was smart. Why not? Why couldn't I do this myself? And it was only until I asked for help. Months I wasted, months and months I wasted until I actually asked for help. And I recognized and realized that, you so need help and you so need support around you, especially in your career. Now, my assistant knew something was up. I mean, I came into work, trying to hide the fact that I hadn't slept.
I bet assistants are phenomenal, by the way. There's not enough respect paid.
No, not at all. Not at all. She would see my bloodshot eyes, whether that's lack of sleep or all the crying that I've done. She would see my lip quiver when somebody asked me a very innocent question. How's your husband? Did he enjoy the game? And my lip would be quivering and I'd just be like, oh my God, keep it together. Keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. Oh. And she was actually one that really encouraged me. She came, she goes, I've been with you for 10 years. I know something's up and you don't want to share it, which is fine, but you really need help. You need help. It's starting to affect everything.
Wow. Like an intervention.
Yes.
Beautiful.
A single intervention. But I needed it. I needed somebody else to see me, to see me, not the version that everybody wanted me to be and everything else, but see me, that I was human, that I was hurting, and give me a little bit of encouragement of, it's okay. It's okay. Yes, you're in a leadership position. You're supposed to have all of the answers. But you don't have the answer for this. Ask somebody else who might have the answers. And once that unlocked for me, once I had that permission, I'm a student by nature, and I just gravitated to every single guru about betrayal and guilt and shame, and just picked and chose what I loved about each of their methodologies. Because with betrayal, it's as unique as your fingerprint. It truly is. Every single relationship is unique. And it's really challenging to get put into a square hole when you're a round peg. And you really need that permission and that graciousness to pick and choose what feels right, what sticks and what you just need to toss. It doesn't quite feel right. And that was years ago. I can't believe it was years ago. And I was blessed to work with some of the greats. And one in particular saw me, really saw me. And I was also part of a support group. I'm a natural leader. I just am. I'm in the C-suite for a reason. And I would go into these support groups and I would suddenly lead them because, I was the ambassador sponsor of everyone else. Wow. And I loved it. I did. I loved helping. I loved feeling connected with other people and seeing the relief that they got when they saw me transforming and really stepping into who I was meant to be. And this particular guru pulled me aside and said, not for nothing, Vanessa, you're really good at this. You are really good at this. You really need to take that psychology degree as well as all of that knowledge that you grabbed from everyone else and you have the lived through experience,
Mm-hmm.
you have wisdom, and you would be selfish to keep it to yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
I really encourage you to go out there. Now, that was not without its challenges, because for me to go home and tell my husband, yes, I'm still married to my husband, hey, I'm going to go out there and just tell everybody that you cheated on me.
Right.
You know? Or I'm going to write a book that
Yeah.
says all about it. Or I'm going to create a Facebook group that talks about betrayal and erectile dysfunction. Hope you're okay with that.
Yeah.
But, dare I say, he sees who I am now. And he's known me, I'm going to show my age, 40 years.
Wow.
And
what a relationship.
yeah, what a relationship. I mean, we've been through the highs and the lows and the infertility and the treatments and the, all of the nuances that life throws at you. And that's why the betrayal seemed to really affect me in such a profound way. I had been pregnant 3 times. I only have 2 children. So we had been through that loss, and we had been through the sudden loss of people close to us and things of that nature, life. But this betrayal was really affecting me. And it was only until I went through that journey that I realized throughout my life, I had had those micro betrayals, those little betrayals throughout my entire life, starting at childhood. But we didn't have the language to articulate what we were feeling. And most of the time, the adults around us diminished it. Oh, it's nothing. When our best friend in the 2nd grade, our best friend who had been our best friend since kindergarten, suddenly turned around and said, I'm not going to be your friend anymore.
My daughter's 8. She's in the thick of that. Oh,
and it's so
drama.
devastating. Yeah. Yes, it's so devastating when the adults around us minimize that hurt. That hurt stays with us.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I had all of these little micro betrayals, even in my career. Someone would take I'd share my idea during lunch. I was so excited because you can tell I got a lot of energy. I'm so excited about my idea, and I can't wait to tell the bosses about my idea, and we're going to save so much money, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and this and that. And suddenly, somebody else is pitching my idea to the boss who loves it, and it's suddenly their idea. And it's like, wait a second, I told you that was my idea. Why did you take that? Well, you didn't say anything to me. You didn't say that it was confidential or anything. I thought it was a good idea, so I took it to the boss. But it was mine. You took my idea. You took something from me.
Yeah.
You betrayed me.
Yep. We see this a lot. Yeah. It's fascinating because when we spoke the first time, I was thinking about the word betrayal is something it's not really ingrained in our vocabulary. It feels so strong, but it is so applicable. I was thinking back in my own career journey. I was betrayed on multiple occasions, and it's so devastating. That's when that trust breaks on a team, right? And so being able to label it, I think, is a really healthy way to be able to know how to navigate through it when you recognize it as that, which you're saying too, even with children, like being able to identify it, recognize it, and then have the tools to navigate through it. Oh, so powerful.
Yes. Because usually in an intimate partner situation, it's referred to as cheating. You wouldn't quite say your work colleague cheated on you.
Right.
It doesn't quite take the same. It doesn't feel quite the same. My coworker betrayed me. Now that's different. That's something to wrap around and get that validation of, hey, wait a second, something just happened here. I feel icky.
I'm going to say you can feel it like in your bones. When you say that, you can just feel it, and you can imagine yourself in that person's shoes when they tell you that, because we've all been there. We've all had that feeling. And why is it so hard to work with this person? Well, if you could start labeling it, well, they actually betrayed me, and we need to work through that part. can you work together or not? We'll get into that in a minute. Like, how do you know
Yeah.
when to leave and should I stay or should I go? Right.
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
wait to talk about that with you. Yeah. Because it's in all of our relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Should I
Mm-hmm.
stay or should I go? What kind of boundary should I draw here? Or is it something we can work through? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about you, your plot twist. I'm still with my hubby.
I still am. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'm still in the C-suite, even though there was a lot of a trail to get here. I got a lot of knives in the back, you know, but that's okay. That's okay because dare I say, dare I say, and when I say it on stage at keynote speeches, people are just like, oh, what? I'm better for the experience.
Mhm.
I truly, truly am. The woman that is in front of you is completely different than the woman I was 10 years ago.
I love this woman.
Oh yeah, I love her too. She's fierce. She takes no crap from anybody. I'm myself. I am my authentic self. The coat that I wear, it's not even a coat anymore. I took off the coat because I had so many different coats and I had so many different capes. Because when we are conditioned to be everything to everyone, we feel that we need to be a little different with every single one. And we lose ourselves along the way. And we don't even realize it until we get shattered.
Yeah.
And then we don't even recognize ourselves anymore because we've stepped into this new beauty that is glorious, that is amazing. We can look in the mirror and just be like, wow, look at that. Look at you. Look at you. You're pretty amazing. We become our own cheerleader. We become just engrossed with who we actually are. So yes, my husband got a new woman. He did. He got me. He got me. I'm completely different. And we got to fall in love all over again.
That's incredible. So before we get into some of the tips, excuse me, my throat today keeps going. It's like it's the eclipse day. I don't know if that's messing with my sinuses.
Of course. And depending on where you were, if you felt the earthquake on Friday.
Yeah, not me, but yeah, exactly. The earth's moving and shaking.
Yeah.
Before we get into like tips and some of your journey of how you work through that, I'd love to back up for a second and talk about what are some red flags, people? So we're talking about labeling it, knowing there's betrayal. Was there anything you could see coming either at work or with your personal story of if I had stepped back, I could have seen some of the betrayal signs or symptoms? Or is it, in your experience when you're working with people, is it more of an immediate shatter point? Like there was no way they could have expected it. What have you seen there?
It's all over. It's absolutely all over. Some have little itty bitty red flags all the way through. But again, it's 2020's hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're in the intoxication of love, we don't see a lot of things. We have rose-colored glasses on. And we ignore those little things, those little irritants that we're like, we dismiss them. And we do it at work as well. Yeah, he always leaves his coffee cup in the sink. That really irritates me. But if we focus on it, if we zero in our attention on it, and we make it a bigger thing than it is, then suddenly we assign an emotion to an object. We assign, he pisses me off every time he leaves that coffee cup in the sink.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Is that what we're talking about? We're actually talking about a bigger thing. Yes, he leaves his coffee cup in the sink and he piles his work on me.
Mm-hmm.
But we fixate on the coffee cup. He thinks I'm going to wash his coffee cup for him because he's always leaving his work on my desk. See how we make those connections. So I'm really cautious with looking backwards after the betrayal and looking for those red flags, because all we're doing is beating ourselves up.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can definitely say, and this was a really hard lesson for me to learn. It took me a lot of months to learn it. I'm going to give it to you in 60 seconds.
Love it.
And it was profound. And it might not resonate with you right at this moment, but there will come a moment where you will remember, you know what? I listened to Vanessa's podcast with Lisa, and Vanessa said this. And at the time, I thought it was no way. But now I remember what Vanessa said. And yes, though something terrible happened to you, it wasn't about you.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about you. The colleague that leaves work on your desk or shares your idea with the boss, it's their own insecurity. It's their own issue. Has nothing to do with you. It truly doesn't. It feels very personal. Right. And we have to hold a Q-tip like you clean your ears with, a Q-tip. QTIP. Quit taking it personally. Wasn't about you. Yep. My husband's betrayal had nothing to do with me. Oh, that was a really hard concept for me to wrap. No, I immediately thought of everything that I did wrong, or things I didn't do, or a nagging or not nagging, or this or that, or whatever it was. Any excuse to put the blame on me, oh, it came right at me.
Oh, especially women, right? It's just because I guess culturally, I don't historically in our from past generations, it just so much blame has been put on the female partner or the female figure or the woman at work. And so all of a sudden we carry that with us. And so that's the first thing we do, right? And I'm a huge proponent of like, oh, we should always look inside and make sure we're setting our boundaries, et cetera. Of course, there's all of that. But when it comes to something like this, when it is betrayal and there's no excuse, right? There's something that's so harsh that, yes, being able to just kind of out of body experience is the way I sometimes describe it, like pull yourself out of it and look at it objectively down versus the woman that goes home, of course, is crying, sobbing, and no matter what relationship this is. And she's thinking, I should have. Absolutely. We've all been there. Yeah. So much weight. And by the way, I don't see men doing that.
Oh God, no. Men don't do it at all because men have a skill. They have a skill that is so amazing that they are able to put everything in its own compartment and just they tuck it away. They just tuck it away. They're so skilled at that. Whereas women, we feel everything and everything intertwines and meshes. And we look for those patterns and we look for all those signs and those red flags and this and that. And what did I miss? And we put all that pressure on us unnecessarily, unnecessarily, because again, Vanessa said, even though something terrible has happened to you, it wasn't about you. Yep. It wasn't about you.
I love it. So first tip, wrap your head around that mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's challenging. I'm telling you, I heard it and I was like, no, come on. Of course it was about me. It has to be about me. I took it all on. I took on the shame and the guilt and all of it. And betrayal is different than grief and loss. Grief. There's elements of it, but there's a big difference. With grief, you've lost someone. You've lost them. They've moved on to they're gone. They're permanently gone. Right. Whereas with betrayal, person's right next to you. You're faced with them kind of all the time, whether that's intimate partner betrayal or at work. Because unless you decide to leave your position because of the betrayal, you're kind of stuck facing them all day long. And that's challenging in and of itself. And we have to learn how to navigate that for ourselves. And you talked about those boundaries that we put in place to protect ourselves. And also to kind of let the people around us know. Yep. You got me once. Now I'm on to you. Now I know not to talk in front of you. So that's going to make it a little awkward, but
Yep. And now I know. And
now I know.
Yeah. Boundaries are just so people know how to interact with us.
Exactly. Exactly. What we're going to do based on what you do. What we're going to do. Yep. That's all. You want to behave that way, that's fine. But here's what I'm going to do if you behave that way.
Right. Okay. So you were in the C-suite you had an assistant who was incredible, paying attention, telling you, you got to go get some help and nudging you. It sounds like I can imagine so many tough days at work. I'm curious because this podcast, we talk a lot about this intersection between work and life, right? Which is what is so beautiful about your story, because it was the thick of both of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when I'll give my mom as an example. She had 5 children, tons of drama, things going on. She had betrayal from my father, all sorts of stuff, in their personal life. She loved going to work. She said it was her safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, she wasn't in a leadership role. And she also said, I don't want to be in a leadership role. And I think it's because at home, she was very much leader. Yeah. And that was not her strong suit at work. So I'm curious for you, and looking at this situation, sometimes people will dive into work wholeheartedly when they're dealing with personal crises or personal issues. And other times people can't do effective work, right? Everyone deals with it differently with their career versus when they're having personal crises. So for you, what was that like?
I bounced all over the place. It described it so perfectly. One month I'd be like Energizer Bunny and all into work. And then other months I'm like, I can't focus on it. I can't look at anything. I don't. And that's because of the healing journey of whatever we were working on at the moment and what was really, really painful for me. And again, it's kind of back to those questions where somebody innocently would say, oh, you and your husband going to X, Y, and Z? And I'd be like, right. My lip is quivering. And I'm like, oh my God, now you've reminded me of him. And now we have to go to an event together. And we didn't let the toothpaste out of the tube. No one knew. Other than our children, our families didn't know. Like we went to family, events, and he'd have to like really prep me in the car. It's okay. It's okay. You don't need to cry. I'm right here. I'm right next to you. I'll be right here. I'm not going anywhere. We're stay in the moment, stay in the moment, stay in the moment. And he would have to prep me before we would go in, and somebody would say something and he would see it on my face and he'd be immediately at my side. And like, oh, Vanessa, I need you over here, or, oh, somebody's, blah, 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 whatever it is to pull me away so that I could compose myself. The amount of times I spent in public bathrooms at events was ridiculous. The second something would happen, I'd hightail it to the bathroom because I'd be like, okay, within the confines of the toilet and the stall, I could cry. I could get out all the emotion that I was suddenly feeling. And I could breathe and I could remind myself to stay present, stay in the moment, don't go into the past, don't look to the future, stay in the moment, stay in the moment, stay in the moment, compose myself and come out. And that's an area where we think that everybody else is paying attention to us. And a lot of times they're not. They're so wrapped up in their own stuff that they don't even recognize it. That's why I'm so grateful to my assistant who is like, yeah, there's something wrong. I don't mean to pry and I don't want to pry, but there's something wrong. You're not yourself, because she sees me every single day. And the key point is she cares. That's a really big difference. The circle around you has to cradle you when you're hurting. They have to cradle you,
and they have to let them.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's a key point too. We have to let them in. Yeah.
That's so hard.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Because we feel that judgment, because we have our own judgment. My judgment was, how could you let this happen? How could you not see it? How could you? Well, what? You completely blindsided? Are you blind? What's wrong with you? And oh, my nasty chick voice on my shoulder. Oh, she beat me down. She beat me down.
How do you change that voice?
You want my technique?
Yeah, I would love it.
You love it? All right. It involves a mirror.
Okay.
And it involves Post-it notes. Now, these Post-it notes, I rewrite every single month, and I've done so for years now. This was a technique that one of my gurus shared with me. And again, there are things that are shared with you that feel really good, and other things are like, yeah, no, I don't like that. This one felt really good to me. Okay. And I subsequently share it with my clients. Some love it and embrace it, and others are like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. For me, it was really hard for me to look in the mirror. I was so judgmental of myself.
Mm.
I cut myself apart. I got a new wrinkle here. Ooh, my hands and just everything. I destroyed myself every morning when I looked in the mirror. You didn't see it, the nasty chick voice. So this technique came to me and I loved it. And it involves a Post-it note. So the first Post-it note you write, and again, I've written mine.
Yeah.
And you start with your name, whether it's your nickname or your given name. Our names are the most beautiful word in the English language, other than our children's names. So you start off with Vanessa. In my case, Vanessa. You say your name, and the first one is, I'm proud. I'm proud that you. And then you finish it. You write 7 different sentences for that. So Vanessa, I'll read you off mine. I just rewrote these on the first of the month. I rewrite them on the first of the month. So they have changed over the course of the years. But to give you and the audience some suggestions, these are mine. You're more than welcome to take them, but come up with your own as well. Vanessa, I'm proud that you picked yourself up. Vanessa, I'm proud that you asked for help. Vanessa, I'm proud that you took a risk. Vanessa, I'm proud that you stepped into who you were meant to be. Vanessa, I'm proud that you wrote not 1, but 2 books. Vanessa, I'm proud that you love unconditionally. Vanessa, I'm proud that you live your life by your own design with purpose on purpose. Powerful. Every single morning, I look in the mirror and I say them to myself. I need to see myself saying these things. I need to believe these things. And that's why I rewrite them every single month. Very different each time, just what I am proud of. So that's the first one. The second one is, and this one's a tough one. This one's really, really tough. And this involves a lot of soul searching. And you will cry. You will cry. But the crying is cleansing. It's a cleansing cry. Again, your name, in my case, Vanessa. I forgive you. Vanessa, I forgive you. 7 different sentences. Very, very powerful. Really hard. Really, really hard because there's so much baggage you carry. There is so much baggage you carry. So every single morning you look in the mirror, you say your name, and 7 sentences that start with, I forgive you. And then the third one, my favorite one, again, your name, my case, Vanessa, I commit to. Vanessa, I commit to. In my case, and my first one, and this one has always been all these years later, because it's my favorite one. I commit to you to put yourself on the list. It's something that we as women forget to do. We have our to-do lists and we forget to put ourselves on the list. So I commit to you to put yourself on the list.
I'll add to that also, when we make lists, like I have clients talk about their network or who they can reach out to or who wants the world for them. There's a list. No one ever puts themselves. There's that list too.
Yes, absolutely. Put yourself on the list.
Yeah.
Make sure you know how important you are, because you absolutely are. And you're fierce. Oh, I love that.
Yes, that's why you're listening to this podcast.
Love it, love it, love it.
Okay, I have a final big question for you, which is, and this can apply at the workforce too, when or how do you choose to stay or to go?
Well, in the case of intimate partner betrayal, there's 3 elements that you need. The first, you need clarity. You need to know exactly what's in front of you. What are you faced with? What are you deciding to do? Because if you're wishy-washy, I'm going to stay, I'm going to go, I'm going to stay, I'm going to go, I'm going to stay and go, or I'm not quite sure what happened, or whatever it might be. If you don't have the clarity It's really hard to make a decision. Truly, truly is. Then you need to have freedom. You need freedom to choose to stay or to go, and really embrace that freedom and know that freedom, own that freedom that you have the choice to stay or to go. Sometimes the choice is taken from you. Yes, that does happen. Of course it does. But we're talking about if you are in a position where you are choosing whether to stay or to go. It's the freedom to have that choice. And the third one's really hard. You need to have freedom from fear. Fear plays a huge part in your life. And how you tame that fear controls how you enter through your life and continue through your life, whether it's in work or in your relationship. If you have an element of fear of the unknown, if I leave, what will become of me? What will become of him? What will become of our children? And you live in this constant state of fear, it's hard to make any kind of decision in that state. Same thing at your job. Some people feel it's really convenient. Oh, I don't like this. I'm going to get up and I'm going to leave. Yes, you might have that freedom to be able to do so, but is that really in your best interest? Is it really in your best interest? Are you climbing that ladder and you're in a good position and just you had a little bit of a setback? You didn't go all the way down like Chutes and Ladders. If you ever played that board game as a child, you're not going all the way down to one. You're going down a couple, and then you climb back up and you get a longer ladder and everything else. So you really need those three components to really decide whether to stay or to go. But more important than that, you need somebody to talk to.
Yes.
Talk to somebody about it. Trying to get it in here with your nasty chick voice on your shoulder, that's not going to work. It's not going to work, nor is it going to work talking to your friends. Yes, your friends love you. They adore you. They want the best for you, but they don't have the answer either. They really don't. They're grasping at straws and whatnot. You need somebody to talk to, preferably somebody who's gone through the experience and has come out on the other side and emulates what you want.
Yeah.
I want to find somebody that has been through this experience. It's kind of like learning to drive. You want to learn to drive from somebody that knows how to drive. You're not going to get in a car with somebody that doesn't know how to drive. It's the same thing here. You want that experience of that wisdom. And wisdom for me is knowledge from a textbook and from books and from life. But you also want the lived through experience.
Yeah, that applied knowledge.
Exactly.
Yep,
for that wisdom.
Yeah. Yes. Love that. Well, when it comes to that relationship betrayal, for sure, you are the right person for people to reach out to. And on the job side, I have been there and gone through lots of that. Came out on the other side. So happy to help you, which I think both of us, absolutely what you said, the clarity piece, you have to get very clear on what's going on, really what choice you want to make. Might not be a black and white. It's actually, I don't really know what my choices are. And me on the career side, a lot of times people like, well, I am not fulfilled in this job. I want to leave. I know I need to leave. This happened, that happened, but I don't know what I can do next. And maybe this is an opportunity to shift, or I don't know what's out there for me. And I can imagine it's the same thing. Like I've tried to think about that too, like going through a partner betrayal, and especially if you have a family or you're just intertwined, right? You're living your lives together. How just even understanding what would that even look like if I were to leave? And is that what would be better or not? So I'm 100% with you. Having a neutral party, unbiased, and our friends, like you said, want the world for us, our family, of course. They've all got their biases.
And they make it very, very challenging. That's one of the reasons that we didn't share it with anybody else, because we didn't want that judgment, because we weren't in a place of knowing exactly what we wanted. We didn't have the clarity to know whether we were going to stay or to go. And if we have family members that are dead set on you have to leave, and we didn't, then that would rupture the relationship we have with them.
Right.
Coming through the experience to the other side. And now, of course, they know some of them are a little hurt, like, why didn't you tell us? Well,
Right.
it's a personal thing. We're going through it ourselves. But now we don't need their judgment. We don't, they can't even give their judgment because we're still together.
Mm-hmm.
They might, whisper it amongst themselves, but that's on them.
Yeah.
But
Not about you.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Very
I
much
love
so.
it.
And they got to see the transformation. And if this is the end result, I'm okay with it. I really am. I truly, truly am. I love who I am. I love what I can bring to other people. As you can see, my energy is contagious. And I love that opportunity to be able to share, to be that example for others that they're not alone. They're hurt. I know it. I know it all too well. I know it all too well. But I also know that you can get through it. That you have the resilience to get through it. And it's so beautiful on the other side. It truly, truly is. So if you're going to go through a gut-wrenching experience, that you just feel like, why continue? Why move on? How can I salvage this marriage? Or how can I salvage myself so that I'm ready for the next relationship, the next responsible relationship? Because that happens as well. I've worked with clients that have left the relationship after they get the clarity, the freedom from fear and so forth, and they've decided that they need to part ways. Well, now here they stand ready for the next relationship. They have to be cleared of all that baggage. They can't bring that baggage into a new relationship. That relationship's not going to survive if you've got all that baggage. But you have all that baggage because you haven't cleaned it up. You haven't let it go. You haven't moved through it.
Same with the workforce. Oh my gosh,
yes.
So many parallels. Just go to a new job. There's still going to be that baggage there. You're looking over your shoulder, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So true. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, for all your wisdom and yes, your energy, your enthusiasm. My gosh, I love talking to you. So I really appreciate it. And if someone is going through betrayal and wants to work with someone like you, how can they get a hold of you?
My URL is understandingear.com. And you can find me on the socials as well by my name. I'm there. Reach out. Just reach out. That's half the battle is just reaching out and just saying, hi, I need help. And I remember how that felt. I remember all too well, because again, I'm not a smart woman. Well, I didn't need help. I'm asking a stranger to help me. Really? Oh my God, it's liberating. It's so liberating to do it. And you will be free. You will be
so
free.
Yeah.
And the weight off your shoulders is, it's priceless. It truly is. And when you delay that, you're just delaying the healing.
And life's too short.
It is.
It's too short.
It is.
I have had countless women get on discovery calls with me that didn't end up working with me because they just needed that ear, maybe even one time, right?
Yeah.
And crying and telling me all sorts of things like, oh, I can't believe I'm telling a stranger. I'm like, well, of course it's confidential here. No judgment from me. I just want success for you. And yeah, fascinating. And I've had that experience with coaches myself. As a coach, I believe in coaching. And so I've had coaches where it just took one session. I was like, oh, that released that part from me. And other times where a full engagement made sense. So I think some people get really concerned about reaching out because they're worried, oh, how much is it going to cost? And then that's a whole nother burden they're putting on their shoulders instead of just taking that step. Like you said, either it's going to just help you that day and get you through it a little bit farther, or maybe you will find a great partner and solution to help you further. So I love what you said about just do it. Just get on a calendar, talk to somebody.
Yeah, just talk to somebody, see what it feels like. And there's lots of different people. That's the beauty of it as well. You might not connect with me because you don't like the pink in my hair, or you don't you feel that my energy is too much for you. That's fine. There's others. You will absolutely find someone. My word of caution, if I could be so bold,
Please.
make sure they have some sort of credentials.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, please don't just, accept it as fact. Do a little bit of research, because this is a very delicate topic. Betrayal is, and you want to work with somebody that you feel comfortable with. And let me tell it this way. You are in charge. You are in charge. Whoever you decide to engage with, you're in charge of it, not them. They're not in charge of it, not at all. You're in charge of it. And if it feels great, run with it. Run with it. And if it doesn't feel right, move on to the next. Move on to the next, because you will find I spent tens of thousands of dollars picking and choosing what I liked from each individual, because there's not a one size fits all. No. There isn't. There truly isn't. And you just want to grab. You want to grab and hold on to certain things that you like, and other things you just flick away.
Absolutely. Oh, love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your love and your energy. And anyone out there going through betrayal, we feel you. We are here, even if it's just through this podcast. Yes. Sending you those warm vibes, because it can be really rough. Thank you so much,
Lisa. Thank you.
Are you currently in the job search or looking to make a career transition? Her Career Studio has you covered. Hi, this is Lisa Virtue, the career coach and the founder of Her Career Studio that is dedicated to bringing you free resources. So head to hercareerstudio.com and get your free cover letter template, the guide to how to write it, and your free resume template. Keep it simple and use these tried and true resume templates that are also ATS friendly and in Google Docs, so they're easy to edit and keep track of. This will build out your career story in writing so that you can get those interviews and ultimately land that ideal job. You got this. Good luck and best wishes.